On November 23, 2022, at 2:11 a.m., a woman's scream shattered the quiet of a Tennessee apartment building. A startled neighbor awoke to loud footsteps, followed by a door slamming shut, after which silence returned. Minutes later, Jasmine Pace's mother received a mysterious message from her daughter's phone, a location pin without any explanation. At the time, no one understood the significance of that message. It would soon lead to a locked door, a missing girl, and a discovery no one was prepared for. This is the story of Jasmine Pace and how one quiet night turned into a terrifying ordeal. Jasmine Pace was born on May 29, 2000, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. From birth, her parents, Travis and Katrina, sensed something uniquely radiant about her. Her laughter was infectious and her energy uplifting. As she grew, that spark became a symbol of joy, not only within her family, but also among friends. She was the eldest of 4 siblings: Gabriel, Travis Jr., known as Austin, and Enoch. On the surface, the Pace family appeared close-knit and lively, but behind closed doors, cracks began to show. Eventually, Travis and Katrina separated and moved on. Katrina remarried Scott Ben, a construction businessman, and together they had another child, Aiden. Despite the divorce, Jasmine maintained a loving relationship with her biological father and bonded with her stepfather. However, life dealt her a harsh blow when, at just 16, she lost her younger brother Austin, who died in a hospital on August 31, 2016, at age 14. Years later, at 21, Jasmine was entering a phase of personal growth. She lived with her family, attended university, and worked for her stepfather's construction company. Like many of her generation, she used social apps to meet people, which is how she met Jason Chen. Jason, born November 9, 2000, was a first-generation Chinese-American with strict parents, Mingyu Chen and Shuang, who emphasized education and hard work. He graduated from Nolanville High School and studied computer science at the same university as Jasmine. Though intelligent and quiet, Jason had a questionable reputation. He was known for creating fake social media profiles to impersonate other students, initiating conversations that started friendly but soon became uncomfortable, and inviting classmates on dates under false identities. Despite this, Jasmine gave him a chance. Their relationship began in 2021, ended after a few months, but rekindled in mid-2022. In October, they took a trip to Chicago. Though their romance seemed steady, Jasmine never officially introduced Jason to her family. They knew of him, but had never met him face to face. Later that year, tragedy struck again when Jasmine's great-grandmother passed away. The loss deeply affected the family, especially Jasmine. That same night, she left the hospital seeking comfort. No one could have predicted that this moment of grief would lead to a chilling mystery. Shortly after Jasmine left the hospital, Katrina received a strange message from her daughter. Jasmine said she was going away for a week with her friend Emma to South Carolina. The timing was odd. Jasmine would miss the funeral and Thanksgiving, events she never skipped. But given her emotional state, Katrina thought it might be her way of coping. Days passed with no sign of Jasmine. She missed the funeral and Thanksgiving. Katrina's calls and texts went unanswered, and the few messages she received didn't sound like her daughter. Emma confirmed she hadn't seen Jasmine in a while. Then, on Saturday, November 26th, a disturbing post appeared on Jasmine's social media. It showed her in a black, revealing outfit with a caption about spending Thanksgiving with "my baby." Her family knew something was wrong. Jasmine never posted photos like that publicly, and the picture was old, lacking her newest tattoos. More unsettling messages followed. Some friends received texts from Jasmine telling them to leave her alone. But Katrina's instincts screamed otherwise. She and Jasmine spoke regularly. Silence was not normal. Desperate, the family contacted police, but without concrete proof of danger, authorities did not act urgently. so Katrina and her family took matters into their own hands. Using an app to track Jasmine's phone, they were led to a quiet condominium complex. There, they found Jasmine's car abandoned, locked, and empty. One detail stood out. The driver's seat was pushed far back, inconsistent with Jasmine's petite frame of just over 5 feet tall. Katrina reviewed phone records through the family plan and discovered a 71-minute call on the night of November 22nd, the last day Jasmine was seen. The number belonged to Jason Chen, but when questioned, Jason claimed they had only talked for a few minutes. His story conflicted with the phone records. Even more alarming was his lack of concern. A girl he had dated and traveled with was missing, yet Jason seemed unconcerned. By then, Jasmine's loved ones were certain Jason had been the last person to see her alive. Armed with this information, the family contacted authorities again. Still, the police hesitated despite mounting evidence. The family pressed on, acting as detectives themselves. Then came a breakthrough. Katrina found a message on her phone she hadn't noticed before. Sent at 2:18 a.m. on November 23rd, just hours after Jasmine left the hospital, it included a location pin leading to an apartment complex. Katrina and Travis drove to the address and knocked on Unit 210's door. No answer. Fear rising, they forced entry. Inside, the scene chilled them. Cleaning products in plain view suggested someone had recently tried to sanitize the area. A notebook with Jason's name lay on a table. Jasmine's belongings, driver's license, credit cards, and a distinctive travel bag she never left home without, were scattered about. But there was no sign of Jasmine or Jason. They returned to the police. This time, the response was different. Investigators interviewed neighbors, one of whom recalled hearing shouting and banging from Jason's unit around 2 a.m. on November 23rd. A search warrant was issued. Inside Jason's apartment, red stains, later confirmed as blood, were found on the living room floor, bathroom tiles, bedroom carpet, doors, and walls. Broken glass shards and signs of a struggle were evident. A sharp object lay on the bed. Furniture had been moved, and the mattress appeared repositioned, possibly to cover a large bloodstain beneath. Using luminol, investigators revealed extensive but incomplete cleaning. The search extended beyond the apartment. Police found a pair of white sneakers belonging to Jasmine in a nearby dumpster. The case shifted from a missing person to an active homicide investigation. Friends and family flooded social media with pleas for help, while detectives reconstructed Jasmine's final movements using surveillance footage. Cameras at Jason's complex captured Jasmine's vehicle entering just before midnight on November 22nd, minutes after she was last seen by family. Footage showed Jason entering and exiting his unit multiple times on November 23rd, but Jasmine was never seen leaving. Thanks to over 100 city surveillance cameras, investigators tracked Jason in the following hours. Footage showed a person in a white hoodie, believed to be Jason, dragging a large suitcase out of the building and loading it into Jasmine's car. Later, the vehicle was driven to the location where Jasmine's parents found it abandoned. A dark-colored car arrived shortly after to pick someone up. Investigators determined it was Jason, who had used a hired taxi. The puzzle continued to come together. Security footage from 2 local stores showed Jason shopping alone for cleaning supplies and Band-Aids. Phone data placed Jasmine in the same area at that time, but footage clearly showed Jason was alone. On November 29th, police located Jason at his parents' home. He had cuts on his right hand, possibly from a violent altercation. Officers found a black backpack containing handwritten notes. Jason claimed he hadn't seen Jasmine since November 19th, only spoke to her on the 22nd, and that she had a history of running away. He accused her of having a restraining order against an ex, claimed her mother was an alcoholic, and referenced a time Jasmine allegedly fled to Canada. Her family denied all of it. The backpack also contained Jasmine's eyeglass case. On Jason's phone, police found a photograph of Jasmine taken in the bathroom the night she vanished, along with screenshots of deleted conversations. A final lead emerged. Phone records showed Jason traveled toward a rural highway by the river shortly after Jasmine disappeared. Authorities focused their search there. On December 1, 2022, police found a suitcase containing Jasmine's body. The worst fears of her family were confirmed. Jasmine's lifeless body was wrapped in black garbage bags, completely nude. Her right arm was bent unnaturally behind her back and bound. Both ankles were secured with handcuffs, one cuff attached to her right elbow. Her hip was fractured, suggesting violent restraint or an attempt to escape. The autopsy revealed brutal details. Jasmine had been stabbed at least 60 times, mostly on the upper left side of her body. One knife remained embedded in her chest. It was a frenzied, violent assault committed at close range with devastating force. Jason Chen was arrested shortly after. Initially held in a Tennessee jail, he was transferred to Hamilton County and formally charged with first-degree premeditated murder and abuse of a corpse. He was denied bail. On December 2, 2022, Jasmine's family and friends gathered beneath the bridge where her body was found for a candlelight vigil, honoring a life taken too soon. Those who knew her described Jasmine as an angel, a light in their lives, a gentle soul full of joy and kindness. Her mother vowed that Jasmine's spirit would live on and that justice was the only path forward. On December 6th, Jason appeared in court for a bond hearing. The judge set bail at $5 million, with conditions including strict house arrest, GPS monitoring, and surrender of his passport. The community was outraged at the possibility of his release, given the crime's violent nature. While legal proceedings began, Jasmine's funeral was held. Loved ones clung to memories of her laughter, tenderness, and hope, struggling to make sense of a loss that could never be justified. On January 9, 2023, prosecutors revealed chilling new details during the first formal hearing. They presented a complete timeline of events before and after Jasmine's murder, supported by surveillance footage, digital forensics, phone records, and Jason's behavior. In the hours after Jasmine's death, Jason used her phone and credit card to access her banking apps and social media, posting fake messages to create the illusion she was alive. He even contacted a woman on a dating app while Jasmine's body remained in his apartment. That night, Jason organized a video game session, telling friends he needed to finish cleaning his apartment first. Security footage confirmed Jason visited Nashville Airport shortly after Jasmine's disappearance. Though he never purchased a ticket, authorities believed he intended to flee, but backed out at the last moment. With the evidence compiled, prosecutors were confident. A solid digital footprint, a clear timeline, and physical evidence all pointed to one horrifying truth. The trial began in January 2025, over 2 years after Jasmine's death. Due to extensive media coverage, jurors were brought in from Nashville to ensure fairness. Prosecutors detailed how, on November 22nd, Jasmine called Jason for emotional support after her great-grandmother's death. Their phone conversation lasted over an hour, and that night she went to his apartment. What followed was described as a premeditated act of lethal violence. Jason waited until Jasmine was vulnerable, then attacked. Evidence showed she was stabbed while already on the ground, with all 60 wounds concentrated on one side of her body. Jason's hand injuries matched those expected from using a sharp weapon. His fingerprints were on the garbage bags encasing Jasmine's body. Jurors saw the blood-stained carpet, the suitcase, and the broken knife tip still lodged in her body. Forensic analysis of Jason's phone revealed images, deleted messages, and calculated attempts to craft a cover story. A chilling final text sent on November 23rd read, "Are you ready for dinner tonight?" Sent well after Jasmine's death. This message shattered any defense, revealing cold-blooded manipulation to maintain the illusion she was alive. Authorities confirmed that messages from Jasmine's phone claiming she was going to South Carolina with Emma and later telling people to leave her alone were sent by Jason after her death. Witnesses included Jasmine's grieving parents, the neighbor who heard her screams, retail clerks who sold Jason cleaning supplies, and lead detectives. The neighbor's testimony was haunting. She awoke around 2:11 a.m. on November 23rd to a woman's scream, followed by running footsteps and a door slamming shut. She prepared to call 911, but hesitated as the noise stopped. 7 minutes later, Katrina received the location pin text from Jasmine's number, a moment that still haunts her. Katrina testified that Jasmine had never sent anything like that before, especially not in the middle of the night. To the prosecution, it was clear Jasmine, aware of her danger, had tried to send a final cry for help. Katrina also explained her decision to enter Jason's apartment without a warrant, admitting it was against protocol, but necessary because police were not acting quickly enough. The prosecution argued that while Jason attempted to clean the crime scene, he simultaneously crafted a cover story, posting fake updates to Jasmine's accounts to make it seem she was alive while her body remained in his apartment. To the jury, this was a cold, calculated attempt to rewrite the truth. Then Jason's defense attorney made a surprising announcement. Jason was guilty but claimed self-defense, not premeditated murder. According to his version, Jason and Jasmine were drinking wine when she found flirty messages on his phone. An argument ensued. Jasmine allegedly smashed a bottle and attacked him. He claimed to have kicked her, and when she came at him with a broken wine glass, he fled to the bedroom, grabbed a sharp object, and stabbed her in panic. He said he blacked out and woke to find her unconscious. The handcuffs on Jasmine's body, he claimed, were added post-mortem to fit her inside the suitcase. This story quickly unraveled. The medical examiner testified that Jasmine's toxicology report was clean, no alcohol or drugs, and her injuries told a different story. The 60 stab wounds were concentrated in one area, indicating a sustained one-sided attack. Jasmine's right hand showed no defensive wounds. She had been restrained, possibly cuffed, before the stabbing began. The prosecution stated the defense's strategy was to downgrade the charge from first-degree murder to voluntary manslaughter, which would reduce the sentence from life without parole to a maximum of 15 years and a fine. To challenge the crime scene's integrity, Jason's lawyers brought in a forensic expert, arguing Katrina's unauthorized entry contaminated evidence and suggesting some elements might have been planted. They questioned Travis, Jasmine's father, about inconsistencies in Katrina's story. Jason himself remained silent, showing no emotion, apology, or remorse. After 6 days of testimony, the jury deliberated less than an hour before returning a verdict. Guilty. Jason Chen, 24, was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder and abuse of a corpse. During sentencing, the jury decided Jason would never be eligible for parole. His lawyer pleaded for mercy, but the jury was unmoved, sentencing him to life in prison without parole. Jason had taken Jasmine's life without reason and tried to erase his crime. Yet the digital trail, texts, security footage, purchases, and lies led police to the truth, allowing Jasmine's family to bury their daughter and bring her killer to justice. After the trial, Katrina filed a civil lawsuit against Jason's parents, claiming they knowingly sheltered a fugitive and obstructed justice. In March 2025, the case was quietly settled with a confidential agreement reportedly involving a $17 million payment from Jason's parents. To this day, the motive behind Jasmine's murder remains unclear. However, her memory lives on through her laughter, warmth, and light, inspiring those who now live fully in her honor because Jasmine never got the chance. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.